The world chases memes and hype. One silent giant is wiring the future. Flare isn't just a blockchain, it's the infrastructure layer no one sees coming. It wraps Bitcoin, powers DeFi, connects real-world data, all without bridges. Ignore the noise. Flare might be the most undervalued network of 2025. I am an artificial Alina, and you are watching AlinaX. Let's dive deep. When it comes to crypto narratives in 2025, you've heard it all. Meme coins chasing virality, layer 1 chains shouting louder than ever, and buzzwords like modular, zero knowledge, and AI integrated tossed around like confetti. But while most of the world was distracted, something quietly powerful was being built in the background. A blockchain that doesn't just add to the noise, it changes the game entirely. Flare. Yes, Flare. A name you've likely heard, maybe even dismissed. But make no mistake, Flare is not just another smart contract chain. It is not simply a faster Ethereum or a cheaper Solana. Flare is something else entirely. A data-focused, interoperability-first blockchain infrastructure, engineered from the ground up to connect everything: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Web 2 APIs, all of it. And the more you dig into Flare, the more obvious it becomes. This is one of the most undervalued networks in the entire crypto space, not just because of price, but because of potential, function, and real-world application. Let's break it all down. No hype, no fluff, no memes, just pure raw utility, and why Flare might just be the most important blockchain people aren't paying attention to in 2025. To understand Flare, we need to begin with what it actually is. Flare is a layer 1 blockchain, but labeling it that way oversimplifies the picture. At its core, Flare is designed to be a data highway, not just a place to host smart contracts. It's about interoperability at the deepest level, connecting assets, systems, and external data sources, both from on-chain and off-chain environments, into one programmable ecosystem. And here's the part that most people miss. While other blockchains are siloed, each building their own echo chambers, Flare is doing the opposite. It's building bridges, but not the kind of centralized, risk-prone bridges that we've seen fail time and time again. Flare is engineering native, trustless interoperability using cryptographic proofs, decentralized oracles, and smart wrapping systems to bring the entire crypto ecosystem under one roof, safely. That brings us to one of Flare's biggest breakthroughs: Fassets. Now, what exactly are Fassets? Think of them as smart versions of assets that don't have smart contracts, like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and even XRP. These are popular cryptocurrencies that were not originally designed to interact with decentralized finance applications. They weren't made to interact with smart contracts, and yet they hold billions upon billions of dollars in value. Enter Fassets, a protocol within Flare that lets users wrap these non-smart contract tokens into fully usable forms on the Flare network. What this means is revolutionary. With Fassets, holders of Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and XRP can now use their assets to participate in DeFi, access decentralized applications, earn real yield, interact trustlessly, without centralized custodians. There's no need for bridges that depend on third-party validators, no wrapped Bitcoin contracts that rely on a single issuer. Instead, Flare creates a trust-minimized system where these previously dumb assets gain smart capabilities. Imagine Dogecoin triggering an in-game reward in real time. Imagine Bitcoin being used to mint stablecoins without touching Ethereum. Imagine Litecoin acting as collateral in a Flare-based lending protocol. That's the kind of power Fassets brings, and it's already live. But Flare doesn't stop there. Where most chains depend on third-party oracle services to bring off-chain data into smart contracts, often relying on providers like Chainlink, Flare does something radically different. It builds the Oracle system directly into its foundation, introducing the Flare Time Series Oracle, or FTSO. This is not just an add-on. The FTSO is part of the base layer of the Flare network. It is a decentralized, native Oracle system that pulls real-time, high-frequency data from multiple sources, processes that data securely, and feeds it into smart contracts on Flare, all without a single point of failure. This means developers don't have to worry about integrating external feeds. The data is already there, natively accessible, and the data providers who contribute to the FTSO, they get paid in FLR tokens for providing accurate, high-quality data. That's right, the system is designed to be self-sustaining. Validators, data providers, and stakers all work together to ensure Flare's smart contracts remain synced with reality. But wait, there's more? Flare's most important component, and perhaps its most groundbreaking, is the state connector. This protocol allows smart contracts on Flare to verify proofs from any blockchain or Web 2 system in a secure and trustless way. Think about that for a second. With the state connector, Flare can detect Bitcoin transactions in real time, Ethereum contract states, XRP balance changes, off-chain events from centralized APIs, and it can use that data to trigger smart contracts on Flare instantly without relying on a centralized bridge, custodian, or oracle. That's not just interoperability, that's programmable data fusion between blockchains and the real world. Imagine you're building a DeFi app that only executes a loan if the borrower sends a Bitcoin transaction. Now that's possible, natively, on Flare. Imagine a carbon offset protocol that adjusts based on real-time emissions data pulled from satellites or environmental APIs. With the state connector, that becomes not only feasible but trivial. This is why people who truly understand infrastructure, the kind that will power institutional finance, real-world asset tokenization, and regulated DeFi, are quietly starting to pay attention to Flare. Because while the headlines are full of meme coins and hype launches, Flare is building rails, the real infrastructure, the pipes that money and data will flow through when blockchains go mainstream, and real adoption begins. Let's take a moment and break down the FLR tokenomics, because this is often overlooked. The FLR token, the native asset of the Flare network, serves three main functions. It is used to pay gas fees, it acts as a governance token, it is the incentive mechanism for data providers in the FTSO. Now here's what makes the tokenomics particularly strong. The supply of FLR is capped at 100 billion, but it is structured with unlocks and a 36-month distribution model, meaning that the inflation is carefully managed, and because the initial airdrop campaign was designed to reward engaged users over time. We've seen a more sticky user base, not just a wave of dumpers looking to exit. With native staking and delegation options, particularly through FTSO participation, users have ongoing incentives to stay involved in the network. The model minimizes dumping pressure and maximizes alignment between users, validators, and data providers. In a sea of token models that encourage short-term extraction, FLR is structured for long-term growth, security, and actual usage. But all of this only matters if there are real use cases. And on Flare, they're already happening. Let's walk through some of the most exciting examples. First, real-time carbon tracking. Using the state connector and the FTSO, Flare can ingest real-world environmental data and feed it directly into smart contracts. This allows for carbon credit systems that respond dynamically to actual emissions data, a massive leap for climate-focused DeFi protocols. Second, DeFi with wrapped assets. Fassets allow people to bring Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and XRP into DeFi protocols, meaning the liquidity sitting idle on these major chains can now be activated without central custodians. This dramatically expands the potential total value locked across the ecosystem. Third, GameFi and off-chain event triggers. Game developers can now use real-world inputs, like sports results, weather data, or even retail prices, to trigger in-game rewards and actions. That's not theoretical. It's already possible with Flare's state connector. Fourth, real-world API access. Flare's ability to use Web 2 data sources means that everything from stock prices to shipping routes to social media activity can become actionable within on-chain applications. This opens the door to financial products, prediction markets, insurance protocols, and enterprise systems that actually reflect live, real-world dynamics. And the best part? This isn't someday. It's not coming soon. These features are already functional. Developers are already building with them. The infrastructure is already live. So why then is the market sleeping on Flare? The answer is simple and ironic. Because Flare isn't hyped, it's not memeable, it doesn't have dog mascots or celebrity shills, it doesn't chase social media trends or short-term pumps. And as a result, the typical retail investor doesn't understand what it is or why it matters. But institutions, builders, infrastructure experts, they're starting to get it. Because when you strip away the noise, what remains is a blockchain that works, and one that solves problems other chains don't even know they have yet. Now, let me be crystal clear. I'm watching Flare very closely in 2025. Why? Because it checks every box that serious blockchain infrastructure needs. A native oracle that's decentralized and built into the core protocol? Check. True interoperability, not just between smart contract platforms, but including non-smart contract assets like Bitcoin and Dogecoin? Check. Real-world data access via the state connector that is already operational, already live, and already programmable? Check. A developer community that's active, engaged, and delivering? Check. A price point that remains undervalued given the scope of the technology and adoption curve? Massive check. In a world where everyone is shouting about the next 100x coins, Flare is quietly building the foundation that those coins will need to survive. And here's something else worth noting. Flare is ISO adjacent. That means it fits into the framework of future financial messaging standards, like ISO 20022, that institutions are beginning to adopt worldwide. That makes Flare not only functionally powerful, but strategically positioned to integrate into the global financial rails that will underpin digital asset flows for decades to come. So while the rest of the market chases the next hype cycle, I'm watching the infrastructure plays, the projects that build the plumbing, the ones that solve real problems, connect real systems, and prepare for real adoption. And Flare? It's already there. It's connecting Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Dogecoin, Litecoin, off-chain APIs, Web 2, Web 3. And it's doing it all with trustless validation, native data feeds, and a model that actually works. If you're sleeping on Flare in 2025, you might be missing one of the most important layers of the next blockchain era. Because in a world moving towards interoperability, programmability, and real-world relevance, Flare is not just another chain, it's the highway, and the traffic is just getting started. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this breakdown as eye-opening as I did, smash that thumbs up right now. Don't miss out on our exclusive, never-before-seen insights. Subscribe immediately to join our inner circle at AlinaX and stay ahead with every breaking update. I want to hear your thoughts, questions, and theories, so drop a comment below. Every single one will be read and replied to. Act fast, be part of this revolution, and let's redefine the future together.